Welcome to the Higher Self Club podcast. I'm your host, Shay, and together we'll dive deep into topics such as mindset, manifestation, money, business, and wellness so you can feel expanded and empowered to create a life of joy and freedom. I'm so excited to be on this journey with you. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome to the Higher Self Club podcast. My name is Shay and welcome back to another episode. It has been a hot minute since my last episode. I kind of filmed that episode while I was living my best life in Bali and then just yeeted off and haven't filmed one since. And it's been a bit of a roller coaster since then, to be honest, and I have a lot to share. But firstly, Bali was just the best experience. We went to Bali just to shake things up, to get out of our environment. I was feeling quite stagnant here in the Gold Coast, and I was just craving a change of environment. And it just made me realize that everything that I've been dreaming of and working towards for the last, 10 years, maybe 10 years since I've been dreaming of this lifestyle of just being able to work and travel, it all just kind of happened. And I realized when I was in Bali, I didn't realize until I was there, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm living my dream. This is what I've wanted for so long. And it was just a really cool moment. So I'm really excited to share more about that with you and how I got to that point and what I feel like were the main factors in really changing, because I've been working towards this goal for say 10 years, or maybe when I started my first digital marketing business, which was when I was like 21 and I'm now 29. So 8 years. I've had this goal, and it's only really in the past 2 years or so that things have really started to change, or even in the last 1 year. And I think it's down to a couple of things that if you really focus on and do, are going to make the biggest difference for you. So I'm excited to share this with you. Before we get into it, I'll just give you a quick life update. So firstly, I'm drinking this Blue Lotus tea. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Probably can't see it. It looks like a freaky alien, but it's supposed to help you with like deepening your meditative state and creativity and stress relief. It smells really good. Anyway, well, when I got back from Bali, I found this lump in my throat, or Daniel found it when we were out for dinner one night, and it turns out it was thyroid cancer. So I've spent the last 6 weeks kind of recovering from surgery to have my entire thyroid removed, and I'm just waiting to go in for a treatment. I have to go into hospital and take a radioactive iodine tablet, which will kill off any other cells that are there. I'll create a whole episode on this because I would like to share the experience in a bit more depth, especially because when I was diagnosed, there wasn't that much information about, there wasn't that much information, or there weren't many other people sharing their experiences. There were a few other podcasts, and I'd just love to share it for other people who go through the same thing, because apparently it's quite common. But I'm okay. I'm going to be okay. It's so treatable. And in the end, I'm very, very lucky that it wasn't much worse. So that explains this big gnarly scar I have across my neck. If you're watching this podcast on video, I look like I've been in like a gang war or something. So that explains that. That's why that's there. But yeah, so it's been a bit of a roller coaster since I got back from Bali. But onwards and upwards from here. So I wanted to share a story with you, something that happened in Bali, to kind of kick off this episode. So we were walking one night in Canggu along the beach. I think it was Canggu. Yeah, we're walking along the beach. We just decided to go to a different spot this night. Went for a walk, and in the distance I noticed this beach club, and it really caught my eye because it looked like something out of Pirates of the Caribbean. It looked really, it really stood out. It had big nets and lights and it looked really cool. And something in me was just, it just recognized it. I felt like I'd been there before, but I knew I hadn't been there before. I was like, what is that? Why do I recognize that beach club? Like it felt like deja vu. And then I realized, I was like, I think that beach club is on my vision board. So I got out my vision board on my phone and Daniel and I were looking at it. We're like, is that it? And we compared the lights, the palm trees. There were these black speakers on the palm trees and the nets and the decorations. We were like, oh my God, yes, that is the same beach club. And this wouldn't seem like that big a deal because it's like, it's probably a pretty popular beach club and there would be pictures of it on Pinterest. But when I picked that photo, I had no idea that it was in Bali. I had no idea I was going to Bali. And I picked that image because it just represented this feeling of travel for me and this feeling of being free and just being at the beach. It's warm, there's lights. And it also represented to me a lifestyle of freedom. When I just looked at that image, I was like, oh, it just created all those feelings for me. I'll show you a picture of that image a little bit later. So that's why I picked it. And here I was on this beach. I'd booked this ticket to Bali just on a whim because I wanted to change and I could, because I'd created this freedom now where I can work from wherever I want to go. And in that moment, I was like, oh my gosh, I've done it. I've literally done it. This is what I've been wanting for so long. And it wasn't until that moment that I realized that all of this was coming into my reality and it felt so strange. And we made this vision board Daniel and I both did our own vision boards in Japan just over 2 years ago now. So that's how long it took for this to come to life. And I just find it so interesting that it's the exact same beach club because I am a specific manifestor based on human design. You can be a specific or a non-specific manifestor. So if you're non-specific, you can just kind of create a general idea of what you want to manifest. You can focus on the feeling. For example, if you want to manifest a new house, you can kind of say, oh, I want it to be white, I want it to be in this area, I want it to have this vibe. Whereas if you're a specific manifestor, you can be like, I want this specific house. So I'm a specific manifestor apparently, according to my human design. So I just found it really interesting that it was this specific image that I put on was given to me in real life. So I'm like, oh, I need to be careful about what I'm putting on my board. So yeah, it was in that moment where I was like, holy shit, things are working. Like all the work that I've been doing, it's finally working. My life is changing. Because up until this point, I just felt like I was pushing a boulder up a hill. Like for all these years previous, nothing was really changing. And I was getting frustrated. I felt like I was doing all the right things. I was reading all the personal development and self-help books. I was meditating. I was doing visualization, positive thinking, affirmations. But nothing was changing. And I would set a goal and I'd get excited and I'd spend a couple of weeks, really being focused, and then I'd kind of lose the motivation and drop off. For example, going to gym. Gym was a big one for me. I'd get excited, I'd set a goal for myself, I'd sign up to a program, and then I'd go consistently for a couple of weeks, like go hard, go every day for a couple of weeks, and then burn out and be like, well, this is too much. So I was on that cycle all the time. And when I look back, it makes perfect sense that I wasn't getting anywhere because I was doing all this like thinking and, all this positive thinking, but I wasn't taking massive action. And I wasn't taking massive action because I was fucking scared and I didn't feel like I was worthy and I didn't think I was good enough to do the things that I wanted to do. So it makes perfect sense. But I needed to bridge that gap between the positive thinking and taking action, and how am I going to take action without it absolutely sending my nervous system into overdrive. So eventually I began to take action. I quit my full-time job, not knowing how I was going to make money. I started my business even though I didn't feel like I was ready. I started teaching breathwork classes, standing up in front of 20 people and guiding an experience. And these things all felt really fucking scary, but I still did them, and I was able to move through the fear. And the way that I was able to do this was by changing myself at an identity level, changing the way that I perceived myself. Because, for example, taking the gym example, pushing and going to gym and just forcing myself to go out of willpower and just changing my behavior, it just wasn't sustainable because willpower runs out and every single time I'd fall off. When I switched my identity by changing the way I perceive myself as someone who values health and fitness, and I am just someone who goes to gym, it's just who I am, it's not what I do, all of a sudden going to gym consistently was so much easier. It felt worse not going than going because it was who I was now. So when I started to understand how this works and how to change myself at an identity level, everything else trickled down and became so much easier. So it's a lot easier to change your behavior and to take action when it aligns with who you are as a person. If it doesn't align, that's where the friction is, and that's where you face a lot of resistance. So most people get stuck here because no one really talks about how to change yourself, and at an identity level, you hear a lot in the manifestation world, act as if, just like act as if you are that person. And I used to hear that. I'm like, how? How do I act as if that person? Like, I'm scared. This all feels a lot. Like, how am I supposed to take action and act as if I am this person when I don't know what it's like to be that person? So if that's what you're thinking or feeling, I totally understand. And that's how I felt too. So my journey to understanding how this all works, I'll just share kind of the moment that it began to click for me because it might help you. When I began to understand things at this deeper level was when I discovered a company called To Be Magnetic. Now, this is a very famous manifestation brand, I guess, run by a woman called Lacey Phillips. And they have a great podcast as well called Expanded. And To Be Magnetic it's kind of like manifestation courses, I guess, and it really focuses on rewiring your subconscious mind. So going back into your subconscious and rewiring different experiences that contributed towards your idea of yourself and your self-worth. So when I started doing this, I was like, this makes so much sense. So what we're talking about is really working with the subconscious mind. So between the ages of 0 and 7, and sometimes up until 14 as well, but mostly between ages 0 and 7, you are a sponge as a child. You're basically operating in a theta brainwave state a lot of the time. So you're in a hypnotic state where you're just absorbing so much information from the world around you. And it is during this time that you form your beliefs about the world. So you form these beliefs based on your caregivers, your parents, society, peers. You learn about how to perceive the world. You learn about what you need to do to get love and to feel safe. So when you're a little kid, you try different things, and for example, you might be really loud and then you get told off for being really loud. You're like, no, you need to be quiet. And then you learn, being loud means that I'm unlovable. So then you form this belief that being loud is not good. Using my voice is not good. So these beliefs, they influence the way that you view the world. So you are a self-fulfilling prophecy of your beliefs. If you believe something to be true, you will look for evidence and you will actually create evidence in your life to support that belief. So if you believe that you're not lovable, you will behave in a way that gets a certain reaction from people to confirm your belief that you're not lovable, if that makes sense. So to change your reality and the way that you perceive the world and the experience that's mirrored back to you, you need to go back and change your beliefs. So many of us have beliefs that aren't supportive, that maybe, you grew up with in a household where money was scarce and you heard things like money doesn't grow on trees, or having to be really careful and always feeling like there was never enough money. You may have formed that belief that money is scarce and it is really hard to make money. And then perhaps that's playing out in your life today where it does feel hard for you to make money. So by going back and rewiring that belief, it's going to create more ease in your life. You're going to feel like taking action feels easier, and you're going to attract more abundance into your life. So if you don't feel worthy of something on your vision board, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to call that thing in, because there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect between that thing and what you believe you are worthy of. This is where most people struggle, I guess. They look at their vision board, they're like, okay, cool, I'd love all these things. And then you start having those thoughts come in like, oh, I can't do that, or that feels really far away. And then all of a sudden you're creating this distance between you and that goal, or you and that image. And that's literally pushing that goal or that vision away from you. Instead, what we need to do, and what's going to be so powerful for you to do, is to look at your vision board or look at a goal that you have and notice the self-talk that you have around that goal. So for example, let's say that you have a screenshot on your vision board of $100,000. One of the ones on my vision board is I have a screenshot that says $100,000 that's I've photoshopped as if it's in my accounting app to say that I've made $100,000 in my business. So this is something that I have not manifested yet, and there's a reason for that. So when I think about that goal, I'm just noticing the self-talk that comes up into my head, and I'm thinking things like that little inner critic is coming in and saying, you can't do that. You haven't done it yet, so why would you do it now? This is stuff that's just coming up right now. That inner critic is saying, you're not good enough. People won't find value. So this is obviously something that I need to work on. So what I'll do then is write down these thoughts that are coming from my inner critic, and this is a great way to reveal what your limiting beliefs are. So I would write them down, and then I would go back into my subconscious mind and be like, where did I form this belief? Where did I form this belief that I'm not good enough? That's one of my deep wounds. I'm not good enough. And I've already done a lot of work into figuring out where that was formed. So going back into your mind and being like, what happened? When did I form this belief? And what did I need to hear instead in that moment? And by changing that belief back in that moment, that rewires your brain up until now. And we begin to integrate that into a beautiful sense of deeper self-worth. And that's when you start to raise your vibration and your frequency to align with the things that you're wanting to call in. I know that sounds super woo-woo, but it's true. So I thought what might be helpful is for me to bring up my vision board and to kind of chat you through how I've achieved some of these things, and talk you through the process of how to do this yourself. And then I'm going to share with you a tool that's going to feel so expansive for you to help you start to really put this into action. So let me just pull up my vision board here. So as I'm pulling this up, I started off with To Be Magnetic. It was a great company, so if you want to check them out, I'd highly recommend. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I need to learn how to do this for myself, and how to guide other people through it. So then I went on and did, that was a big reason why I signed up for my mindset coaching, and the company that I did it through teach all these subconscious tools and techniques. And it is absolutely life-changing. And I love how it's so rooted in science, but I also do believe that magical things can freaking happen when you do this work. Some things are just not explainable. Like you can do a rewiring and instantly get a result. Which, who can explain that? I understand that, everything happens on the quantum field and there's no space or time on the quantum field, but I just think it's so fun and exciting. For example, I'm jumping ahead of myself, but I'm going to share this tool with you at the end of this podcast. And my friend Lily did this reprogramming that I'll share with you, and instantly opened her phone and had 8 new followers on Instagram after she'd done this programming where she was focusing on her business. Explain that. I don't know. I think it's wild. Okay, so this is my vision board. So this was the vision board that I made over 2 years ago now. 2 years ago, probably. Around, maybe just over 2 years ago. So just to take you through some of these images. So talking about weird instant results, this image here of this desk overlooking the ocean, when I picked this, in my mind, I had for me, this represented being in Cape Town because I really want to spend some time working and living in Cape Town. It's one of my places that I'd love to spend some time in the near future. And this image, I don't know if I typed if this actually is in Cape Town, but all the people that I've seen, living and working in Cape Town, this is very much the vibe. So I picked this image, we're in Japan, and then literally a couple of days later, we went to this place in Japan on the coast because we were going to travel across. There's this place called Uno Island, and it's like this art island. We stayed at this, it was a hostel. It was a really nice hostel. We walk upstairs, and there's a general area, and there is a wooden bench desk just like here overlooking the ocean. I was like, what? What do you mean? I wish I got a photo of it because I could compare them, but I've left this on here because I want it to represent Cape Town, but I could not believe that. I was like, this is actually the same thing. What else have I got here? So this plain window really represents travel for me. This woman with her Palo Santo, I really want to focus on a daily meditation breath practice. So I've got some things that just give me the vibe and the energy of what I want to tap into when I look at my board. So travel, being grounded, centered. I want to be able to, be able to buy organic food for myself all the time. So I've got that on there. At the moment, I buy like partially organic. Here I've got my podcast. So I didn't know what I was going to call the podcast back when I popped this on the board. So I just photoshopped it here, Magnetic Mind, I was thinking. But yeah, I just photoshopped and put it there because at this point I hadn't started my podcast because I was fucking scared because it was scary. So here we are, and you're listening to me on my own podcast. It's one of my favorite mediums. I feel like you guys are my people. I love sharing on here. I feel like I can give so much more value than Instagram. But this felt so unachievable for me not long ago. So I really had to up level. So when I'm just thinking about what I had to do to get myself from feeling like that to feeling how I am now, I know some different beliefs I had were that I don't have anything valuable to say. So I had to go back and rewire that. I had to rewire the belief that I had this, what else was there? It's hard in hindsight. I should write these things down. Honestly, I had a fear of people listening to me. Like after I recorded my first episode and then people gave me feedback, I was like, oh, people are actually going to listen. It's just very vulnerable. So I had to let go of that fear of being heard. So after I overcame them, here we are. So I'm able to update this vision board now. What else? Let's go to this image here. So this image, if you're listening, this is the image of the beach club in Bali. So when I look at this image, it's sunset, there's beautiful lights hanging from the trees and candles on the table, there's palm trees, bean bags, and it's just a whole vibe. So this to me really represented that feeling of freedom and travel and being able to work and travel the world and just go wherever I want to go. So this is something that has really moved for me in the last 6 months, or maybe a year actually. I think I quit my full-time job a year ago maybe. And that was the big moment. And to get to that moment took me a very, very long time, and I did not feel completely sure about making that move, but I knew I needed to take that leap. And I had to work a lot on my self-worth to realize that I was worthy of creating my own business and that I did know enough information. I did have a lot of value to share. So that took a lot of work, going back and identifying all those beliefs. And once I took that leap, then everything began to change. But to take that leap, I had to work on those beliefs first. Otherwise, there was just going to be a massive disconnect. So I'm hoping that this makes sense. I feel like I've kind of babbled on a little bit. But basically what I'm trying to say is you can't pick these images, you can't create a goal, you can't create a vision for yourself and then just think positively and just hope for the best. You have to step into that version of you who already lives that life and who already has those things. And the way that you do that is by going deep and examining what you believe to be true about yourself, what you believe to be true about the world, and what you believe you're worthy of. And remembering that you are inherently worthy. You don't have to do anything or achieve anything to be worthy. You just are. So I wanted to create something to help you begin with this process and to get a taste of what it's like and to feel the energetic shift that can take place when you begin to work with your subconscious mind. So some of this work can be quite deep. This is work I do with my clients, and it can go, back into childhood and things that can feel, you have to be feel really safe to do this work and do it in a really safe way. So I thought, how can I share something that is empowering and really gets you lit up and makes a big difference for you to start with? So I've created this tool and it's called the Quantum Goal Drop. And this is one that I love to do because it always leaves me feeling so lit up and excited. And basically what you're doing is you're taking a goal or a vision or your vision board or something that you want for yourself, one of your desires, and you're taking it and you're planting it into the future of your subconscious mind so that your subconscious mind thinks it's already happened, it's already on its way to you. And when your subconscious mind believes it already to be true, that's when it goes and starts looking for evidence. It starts looking for opportunities to affirm that as being true, as already having happened, if that makes sense. It's an audio recording. It goes for 15 minutes. If you want to give this a go, I'll put the link in the show notes. So what you're going to do is be very relaxed for this recording. Lying down, sitting up, whatever feels best for you. First, you're going to want some kind of goal or vision. So I'll also pop a link in the show notes to my vision board masterclass. You don't need a vision board. Even if you just go on Pinterest and you find an image that lights you up and relates to a goal that you have, or if you just have a clear goal written down, just something that you're working towards, or perhaps you have kind of an idea of this version of you that you want to step into and knowing what she feels like, what she looks like, how she dresses, just some kind of clear representation of something you're working towards. So that's what you're going to want going into this experience. Then I'm just going to guide you through a visualization, and it's going to feel quite strange, especially if you haven't done this kind of work before, but I just ask you to trust the process, trust anything that comes through to you, and I'll guide you through the entire way. You can feel a shift after doing this once. You will feel a deeper shift if you do it multiple times. So you don't have to listen to the whole recording every single time. The first half is just kind of for your first time. So up until I think it's about 6 minutes 50 or 6 minutes 30. The next time that you do this recording, you can just skip ahead to that point and just do it from there. So that it's less than 10 minutes really after the first time. And it's going to give you that experience of what it's like to work with your subconscious mind. And I'm just excited to hear what magical things happen for you when you start to explore this. I feel like I've just word vomited. I'm so sorry. I just get so passionate about this. It excites me so much. I feel like it's like the golden key to getting everything that you could possibly want. Like no more having to try and figure it out. It's really simple, and a lot of this work, it doesn't take that long. It's just about having self-awareness, and it's a fun journey because the more work you do and the more things you unlock about yourself, you immediately see the results in your reality. So it's like a fun game. So even me looking at this, my board now, I'm like, I need to update it. And maybe I can share my journey with you real time on how I am working on my own beliefs, because I'm doing it all the time. So excited to share this tool with you. I'll send the link, or I'll pop the link in the show notes below. You can sign up. It's going to go live on, what day is it today? Tuesday. It's going to go live on Wednesday the 6th, and you'll have until Monday the 11th to download it. So run, don't walk. I'll send it through to your email. If you have any questions at all, please message me and I'll be happy to answer them. I know it can be quite a weird experience, so you might have some questions. And I'm just so excited for you to experience this for yourself. Next episode, I'll share my cancer journey, which is wild to say. I can't believe I'm saying that. I'm still not through it yet, but I think I'll be ready to share. So if you have any questions, any feedback about this episode, anything at all, please message me on Instagram. But otherwise, I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.